Hi, it's Phil back with you again. Firstly, I wanted to show you my new haircut. Before Tina went back home today, she had her first ever attempt at cutting hair, and this is what it looks like. So luckily I haven't got too much for it to go wrong, but there you go. So how do you get on with the juggling? It's perhaps not quite as easy as it looks at first sight, but if you practice, you know, it's surprising how much better you can get in a very short space of time. So if you've got any success and you want to show me some clips, I'd love to see them. And the more people we can get on the website, the better. The contact details are at the end of this video clip. And all you need to do is to get in touch with me at philsfunforfogies@gmail.com, and that's all one word, and Phil has got 2 L's in it. Okay, so what are we going to do this time? New video, new topic. I thought we could relive one of my little adventures back in the 1970s, and it sounds pretty tame, and I guess it was really, but it was a lot of fun, and it concerned the world of paper aeroplanes. A friend of mine came up with a very good design. He's an engineer, and he's a very clever guy. So we're going to have a look at the history there and what happened back in the 1970s, and old fogies like me and you might find it a bit of fun. Okay, we'll go to the next bit. See you in a minute. So what I'm going to do is just walk you down the stairs in my house here, and we'll just go past a couple of interesting things. And I think old fogies might appreciate this jigsaw, which is something you don't see very often these days. It was rather fun making that. And we come to my little sort of old toy collection, which I can show you here. There's a Saturn V rocket, and there's some pretty interesting stuff from the past. Lots of old toys. We'll come on to other stuff later, but I'll just show you one little thing. Here is a little bit of foil which came off the command module of Apollo 11, the first mission to go and land and walk on the moon. Anyway, the thing I really wanted to show you was this here. I don't know if you can see him. He is the Paper Aviator of the Year, and that is a trophy that I won with a team of friends back in the 1970s, and it's travelled with me wherever I've been ever since. It's rather beautiful. It was hand carved for that competition, and our little team of 4 became the national paper aeroplane champions of that year in the 1970s. About 78, 79 I think it was. No, maybe a bit later. No, around about then. Okay, so we'll look at that some more, and I'll tell you a bit more about it, and then we'll have a go at making a paper plane. See you in a bit. So I thought I'd just show you the trophy properly, because it's rather lovely, and a lot of work went into it, a lot of detail. If you can look, you can see he's got his flying boots, he's got his leather flying jacket, of course. Every good aviator has to have their scarf and goggles, and I've made him a little plane just to show him in action. So the Paper Aviator of the Year competition was sponsored by British Airways, and it was a lot of fun. There was about 20 or 30 teams, and it took place in London in a big hall, and the main prize was for distance. So we realized very quickly that you could make some beautiful aeroplanes that would fly very slowly and gracefully, but actually for distance all you want is the thinnest, longest paper dart. And that's what we made, and that won the competition. And as a result, we were the winners, and we won a ticket on Concorde, which was quite something. But of course there were 4 of us in the team and only 1 ticket, so we decided to give the ticket to a children's charity, and when British Airways heard that that's what we were doing, they said, well, that's really kind of you, so what you'd better do is come to Heathrow and we'll show you all around the facilities at Heathrow for British Airways. So we got to crawl all over Concorde and see all the maintenance and go into the cockpits. And on the right there is my dear brother Chris, and on the left is Ed Huey, who was a college friend from Hong Kong. And he was a marine biologist, but a very clever guy, and he wrote a book on paper airplanes, and he is my sort of guru for paper planes. And the paper plane we're going to make at the end of this little bit is one of his designs based on the hang gliding that we used to do. And I don't know if you can see, but I'll just point the camera up and you can see some pictures on the wall of the stairs, which is of me hang gliding back in the 1970s at university in Swansea. So there you go. So British Airways wanted to get some publicity, and they invited along a lady called Ros Hamby, who was the sort of poster girl for British Airways back in those days. And I've got this great photo here, me with my moustache looking very smug, receiving the winner's champagne from Ros Hamby, who was the poster girl for BA. Here you are. So I think we'll now get ready to make a paper plane, and I'll be with you in a second and we'll get some gear together and I'll show you how to make it. Bye. So to win the paper plane competition, we needed to have a paper plane that would fly a long way in a straight line, because it's easy to make very nice paper planes that fly really well, but it's hard to keep them going in a straight line and to go very far. So we decided that the simplest plane that was going to win in terms of distance was just your very basic long and thin paper dart, something like this. There you have it, one bog standard paper dart. And that's what we won the competition with, was quite a lot of those. But today I think we can do something better, and we can make something which is a proper flying machine that has some real performance and is elegant and somewhat more beautiful than your standard paper dart. What I've got in mind is something like this. This is a very carefully made paper hang glider, and they fly very well once you get them trimmed out and sorted. And I thought today I could show you how to make one of these. Okay, so we take our piece of A4, we fold it in half like that, and we take a ruler and a pencil and we make some marks. So we make one at 150 millimeters just here. I'll put 150 there so you can see it. One is 20 millimeters from the end there. I'll put a 20 on there. We put one along here at 28 or 27.5 millimeters. One at 55. And then from this end, we put one at 70 from this end. So that's 70 to there. So that's the marks we need. And then we draw some lines. So from the corner here, we come out to the 150. Then we go from the 70 mark here to the 20 mark up there. And then we mark from the 55 to that point over there, and from the 27.5 or 28 to that point there. Then we take the scissors and hold the two cut ends together like this, down that line. Wandered a little bit there. And then the same again along this big line. So we don't need those anymore. Then, oh, before we do that, you can just cut a nice rounded corner on here. So something like that. Okay, unfold and join the similar lines on this side. So that one to there, that one to there. Then with the scissors, just cut down this line here, down the nose, right down the middle, till you get to the 55. Then with the ruler, take the top line first and fold the paper over onto the ruler. You're going to be holding the ruler quite firmly here because it's quite tricky, all the way along. And then the same on the other line. So both those lines are now bent over and scored. Same on this side. That's the second one. Now that is done. Okay, it's starting to look a little bit like a hang glider. So we fold that in carefully all the way along. Make sure all the way along is folded in. And then over on itself again. So it should look like that. We can fold this piece out the way for the moment. We don't need that at the minute. And then we fold that side in and over itself. And we're starting to get something. So now we can remove some of the excess material here, like that, and like that. So now we start to have a hang glider shape. So make sure that the wings are equal and symmetrical, and then put a little twist in the wings like that so that the wingtips point upwards, and then whilst holding that, use a stapler to staple through the middle, about there. Okay, so that's now held together with a staple, and you see there's a symmetricality there. So I'm not sure that's even a word, but there you go. So now you can either put a small paper clip on the nose, or you can use more staples. I'm going to use a paper clip in this case. So there's a small paper clip. In fact, you can use two, depends on the flying characteristics and whether it needs a bit more weight on the nose or not. And that is your basic hang glider shape, ready to be trimmed out, ready for flying. And I'll show you that in just a minute. The key to getting these paper planes to fly well is in making sure that they're absolutely symmetrical. And if you look down each wing from behind, you can see how much gap there is between the leading edge, which is this long thin piece at the front, this piece here, that bit there. They must be smooth and flat and close to the underside of the wing if they can be. And if you look from behind, you should see a similar amount of billow in each wing, the same on each side. Now, can you also notice that a couple of things? The tips of the wing are bent up, and that acts as a little up elevator which holds the nose of the paper plane up. And to counteract that are the staples or the paper clip that you have in the nose. And it's a matter of balancing the two to make sure that you have it right so that it flies nicely. The thing is, when you launch, is you don't launch with the nose up, you launch with the nose slightly down. You hold them between the thumb and finger on the center line, and you launch at a nice consistent speed, about that speed. No faster, or else it will just zoom up into a stall and then dive and crash. So you don't want that, so you want to launch at what is the correct flying speed. And if it starts to turn one way or the other, then you need to play with these little tabs on the end to make it turn the other way. One thing that helps it fly straighter is if you have a bit of dihedral. So can you see that the wings come up a little bit? If you let go, they'll go down almost flat again, but that's about the perfect angle for them to fly at. So you can experiment with the different amount of weight on the nose, the amount of tip up on the end of the wings, making sure that both wings look exactly the same from behind, a little bit of dihedral, and a correct launch. There's a lot of books you can buy about paper planes, and this is my little corner of my library that has paper planes in it, and these are some of the better ones. Lots of different shapes and types and ones that you can make, and this is the poshest one I've got. Here you are. Introduction to the Principles of Aeronautical Design and the Science of Aerodynamics. It's a very smart book with lots of details, and you can go on forever. It even includes the paper you need to make them with. So there you go. So that was our little look at paper planes, and I hope you made some and they didn't crash and burn. If you got some good flights and managed to record any, I'd love to see them. And yeah, I hope that was fun. The Wikipedia tells me that the Chinese, of course, invented paper planes 2,000 years ago, but what we think of as a sort of modern paper plane really started in the 1930s with a guy called Jack Northrop, who, of course, then was a co-founder of Lockheed Aviation, so quite an aviation pedigree behind a little bit of paper. So yeah, see you next time, and look forward to a totally different topic. Okay, just enjoy watching Phil's Fun for Fogies, and tell all your friends, and send me lots of emails, and get in touch. Okay, take care, bye bye.